psychopaths! Howdy, y'all. I'm Adam the Renaissance Nerd, and let me welcome you, my lords and ladies, to Rings of Power Episode 7 review, where a whole lot of nothing happened again. I can honestly say this is the least offensive of all the episodes so far. While I have things to bitch about, it's kind of bitching about things we've already bitched about. A couple new little wrinkles, but it's really a whole lot of nothing. And a lot of the events of this episode drive home how much this show has failed to connect anything on an emotional level with us, the viewer, who are actual Tolkien fans. What do we got? I could actually break it down to 3 parts today. We're going to go part. We're not going to just go through the episode because none of these parts really intersect with each other. They're all their own little world of stupid. What do we got going on? We got Dirty Little Hippie Land, as you saw already. We got dirty little hippies on parade. We've got dwarves and daddy issues. And then we've got Galadriel, Warrior Queen, and the Númenóreans and the Southlanders are dealing with emotional stuff. And they're trying to pay off Galadriel, Warrior Queen, suddenly having emotions other than scowl. Oh, we have this. We only have one more week of this to go. And if this is a penultimate episodes to season finales are supposed to build the tension and set everything up for climax. Wow, this is somebody lost their rhythm. Somebody lost their rhythm and lost that feeling. Although Galadriel still has her dick dagger. Let's get started.
But there's one thing we can do, I warn, better than any creature in all Middle-earth. We stay true to each other.
All right, let's begin with the harfoots, these dirty little hippie psychopaths. We arrive at the grove they've been talking about. Barry Muncher and Nori are talking about, hey, we're so happy to be here because we got left behind again. Obviously, we got left behind again, but it's okay. It's all right. Everybody cares about everybody in their dirty little hippie land. As they arrive, Barry Muncher says, oh, I smell wood fire cooking. I'm hungry because I'm Barry Muncher. I'm a fat little cow, so all I think about is stuffing my face. But what we discover when we arrive is, in fact, no, the grove has been devastated. Because I ask this question now. I ask you this question. You, the viewer, and stands. Answer me this one. Where are the harfoots on the map of Middle-earth? We saw them doing something 2 episodes ago in their little trek that took apparently weeks. Where are they? Where are they in relation to the Southlands, where Mount Doom just erupted? You can't answer that because the show hasn't shown us. Yet, somehow, Mount Doom debris, eruption debris, reached their little grove for plot purposes. Because if you look around on the way there as they're coming up, and when they leave later on in this arc of the episode, there's no sign that Mount Doom debris reached anywhere else in that area. It just so happened to crash land where they had to be for plot purposes. Well, the Brandyfoots arrive, and Sadek Burroughs, Lenny Henry is busy lamenting, oh, our ancestors once spoke of mountains of fire far to the south that would erupt, and there's signs of danger and horrible things going to happen. Because a mountain erupting in nature is a sign of bad things. No, it's called nature, you idiots. Well, because now they have no food in the area. The apple trees and everything else have been wiped out. They cannot scavenge because these are scavengers. These are scavengers. That's how they survive. They don't know what to do. Lenny Henry suggests, why doesn't Mr. Wizard Gandalf Gunnaby use his magics to save the day? Well, they ask him. He says yes. We cut to a point where Mr. Wizard Gandalf Gunnaby's making out with a tree, mumbling in wizardly language. The tree starts to shake and bark starts to splinter. Branches start to go. Blah, blah, blah. During it, one of the Brandyfoot children goes, "He's doing it! He's doing it!" And he wanders forward. And Nori, who still has her manufactured fear of Mr. Wizard Gandalf Gunnaby, freaks out, says, "No, don't get close!" And she jumps over as branches. Branches! They're not even large pieces of the tree. Just a few branches fall off on them. She covers her little brother or sister. I don't know. It could be anything in this stupid show. Everybody pulls him aside. Mr. Wizard Gandalf Gunnaby looks upset that he accidentally caused damage. Everybody's afraid because manufactured fear of Gandalf Gunnaby because he has to be pushed away from the group in order to move the story along. And that's why they manufactured fear, so that he could be pushed away and the story surrounding him could be dumb. Meanwhile, as he walks away, everybody doesn't notice a tiny little flower beginning to grow on the tree. When we return to the little psychopaths later in the episode, Sadek, Lenny Henry, is talking to Mr. Wizard Gandalf Gunnaby about how you can't stay here now, you gotta go. Here's the piece of the star chart with your stars on it that just happened to have survived the last time you did anything stupid around us. Go this way where people your size are. I'm sure they'll lend you an ear and direction to your constellation, because our people haven't seen it in over 1,000 years. Yeah. Bye. And before he leaves, Nori gives him an apple with basically, "I'm sorry eyes, but you scare me." And Mr. Wizard Gandalf Gunnaby going, "Oh," with his own eyes. He doesn't have to say anything. Doesn't actually say a word. "I'm sorry. Okay, bye. I like you, friend. Bye, friend. Bye, scary manufactured fear for Gandalf Gunnaby." And he leaves, goes off direction. That night, Nori talks with her mom about how she should have left him in his fiery landing place, in his crash landing. Should never have brought him up there. It's caused nothing but trouble. I never had adventure. I'm just going to be good old little good girl Nori from now on. Okay. When we return to the Harfoots later, Nori is woken up from her sleep by Barry Muncher, who offers her an apple, and Nori freaks out. "Why are you offering him an apple? We have to conserve our supplies." And Barry Muncher goes, "Wait, go look." Well, looks like Mr. Wizard Gandalf Gunnaby's magic actually worked. It restored life to the grove. Apples, vegetation, everything's there. Everybody's picking. They're all singing, "Yay, we're happy little creepers. We will leave all others behind." That kind of shit. Barry Muncher sings throughout this whole episode, and it's god-awful annoying. Speaking of Barry Muncher, she's getting water from the creek. And as she's getting water, she notices a footprint that has a shoe. So it's not Mr. Wizard Gandalf Gunnaby. She freaks out. We cut to the night as Feminem and the Feminem Trio. We'll call them the Feminem Trio. The Feminem Trio have arrived at the Brandyfoot Grove, or the Harfoot Grove. They're looking around. They find the tree that Mr. Wizard Gandalf Gunnaby brought back to life, and they start heading in this direction. Now, if your three scary-looking people show up, and the Harfoots are all hiding. They're all hiding. They've all camouflaged themselves in their little hovels, their wagons. What would you do? Would you let them go on their way? No. Nori has to be the bestest friend ever and yell and say, "No, he didn't go that way. He went that way." Well, Feminem looks at her, and here's where I was wrong. I said they were going to try and do some subversion and actually make them friendly, not bad. Well, they apparently are bad, because as Hobo Baggins thrusts a torch in front of them saying, "Don't you hurt, I'm going to wallop you good," Feminem, as I showed you in the opening Gambit clip, Feminem grabs the fire, sets the entire Harfoot caravan on fire. Yes, I laughed my ass off when this happened. And this is a sign how these showrunners, these writers, these directors, they have failed at making any sort of connection to us, the viewer, with these little psychopaths. We are cheering that their wagon village, their caravans are destroyed. I guarantee I am not the only person that was going, "Yes, yes. We hate them. We hate them to their very bones because they're horrible. They're psychos. They're hypocrites too." Because when we arrive the next morning as they're doing cleanup, Nori's upset. Hobo Baggins, her dad, tries to comfort her. And when Wifey tries to tell him, don't treat her like a child, he says, no, I mean it. And he gives his famous speech about we're hearts bigger than our feet, that we've all been waiting for this. But during it, I showed you, he mentions in the transition clip how we're all connected. We all count on each other. You hypocrites! You're little psychos. You'll leave each other behind at the drop of a hat. And they continue that little diatribe stupidity. Diatribe monologues about how we all got to stick together, but I got to help each other out. And it's stupid because you don't. We're not going to leave anybody else behind, but you do it all the time. You're horrible. Well, what happens is Nori then says, I'm going to go look for Gandalf Gunnaby. And Barry Muncher says, I'm going with you. And then her mom says, I'm going to go with you too. For some reason, mom's going along on the trip. And then Lenny Henry's, I think his wife, who has been a harpy all this time, suddenly says, we have to go help the big man. And then Lenny Henry actually says, well, for just once, I'd wish you weren't right, always right, Marva. Is she always right here too? Because she told him, remember several episodes when it was her idea to banish the Brandyfoots? Was she right then too? You're always right. I wish you weren't always right. No. She's been horrible as any of you have been for this entire season. And now she says something positive. Oh, you're always right. How can we do this? Okay. I'm Sadek Burrows, Lenny Henry. I think we're all going to die, but I'm going to go help them track down Mr. Wizard Gandalf Gunnaby. And then they're traipsing off. And we're done with the Harfoots. Moving on to Dwarves and Daddy Issues.
Yours. And mine. And together we will rule this mountain and all others before our time is done. That mithril belongs to us.
Dwarves and Daddy Issues. That's kind of the gist of what happens in our Femrond, Durin, Diza, and Durin the Third section of this episode. It really is, at the core, Durin's daddy issues. And also that, as you saw, we learned that Diza is a power-hungry bitch. Oh, I'm going to get into that. Anyway, we begin with Femrond speaking with Durin the Third and Durin the Fourth, trying to make the case that they need the mithril to save the elves. Remember, we're talking about manufactured lore here, a manufactured crisis to lend some sort of urgency to this story, that the elves are dying for one reason or another, because they touched the darkness. Who knows? The metaphors, the allegory in this show are horrible. But remember, that's why the mithril is so important, because the elves have to be saved because they're dying. Durin wants that to happen. His father doesn't. We get this moment where his father says, I want to talk to my son alone. As after he basically rebuffs everything, he says, no, we're not going to do it. And Durin says, okay, Dad. And then he goes home and has a talk with Disa, who basically throws a temper tantrum. Oh, this old man, why won't he do it? We need to have that mithril. We have to use it to save the elves. And sounding all positive there. Oh, we like Disa. She's not bad. No, Disa's going to be bad. Disa's going to be bad if you ask me. And also, look, Disa's a blacksmith. Look at her. Isn't she great? She can do everything. She sings to the stone, and she makes weapons too. Oh, Disa's awesome, isn't she? Go, yes, queen. Yay! Durin then has to tell her, hey, I have to accept it. He's my king. He's my father, but he's my king. What am I going to teach my children, our children? How can we teach them to respect the throne if I don't respect the throne? And that's a good case. You're going to do that. Then Fenron arrives. Durin breaks the news. Sorry. Not going to help. And Durin has a little emotional moment. Now, what's great about this scene here is that Durin's acting like a woman while Disa's acting like a man. Disa's all strong and forthright and determined with her opinions, while Durin cries and whimpers. And Femrond is Femrond. He's always going to be Femrond. Anyway, Femrond gives him back the little piece of mithril, which leads to, after a little more bitchings and moanings, Durin tosses it across the table and it heals the leaf that Femrond had brought as evidence that the elves are dying. And that stirs something within Durin. He calls Elrond back and they're going to go a-mining. Later on, when we return to the dwarves, they're both now mining in where the mithril was. They're mining for it. Durin's working hard. So's Femrond, apparently. They have a little banter where now Femrond basically says, when he offers him water, and Durin's like, no, I have to be strong. I can't show weakness. We're going to keep going. Femrond says, oh, come on. We all have to have a little drink here. And Durin's like, what would you know? You gave up on our little contest. Femrond then says, I threw the contest. I threw it because I wanted to spend more time with you. Wanted to talk to you more than that. It's just really lame. Dudes, just have at it. You're gay together. Let's just get that over with. The meat is raw, ready to be served. They resume their mining and eventually break through to a hole where we then get the veins of mithril running through the mountain, and Durin is so awesome, so awed by it. But then during the third arrives, his dad yells at everybody to get out. They throw Elrond out of the mountain, and then we get a nice scene where daddy issues resume between Durin and Durin. Durin the Third tells this stupid story about how Durin the Fourth was a weak child, but then he grew strong because he held him next to fire and he kept keeping his chin up while he breathed. And then he was gonna be strong, and he told his dear departed mother he was gonna be strong. And then she stopped crying at night. And when Durin the Fourth replies, how can you expect me to be strong? How can you expect me to be a great king if you stymie everything, Dad? Dad, you're holding me back. I'm trying to be great, and everything you're doing is keeping me from that greatness. And I need to help my friend. I need to help my boyfriend because he's like family to me. He's as much my brother as if he was born from my mother. And when he says that, Durin the Third flips out and basically disinherits him. You're no longer prince. You're no longer my heir, essentially is what happens. Which then leads to a cut. Before I go there, daddy issues. Why are we having CW daddy issues? I said before, this is the penultimate episode. Where's the tension? Oh, the tension's coming for something stupid at the end of this little dwarf arc. We cut to Durin and Disa, where Durin's moping, and Disa's giving him this pep talk about how you're great, your father's old, he's terrible, he's stuck in his ways, we are the future. We forget tradition. We're awesome. I'm awesome. You're going to be king and I'm going to be queen and we're going to rule this mountain and everything and all the mithril is going to be ours to do with as we please. Notice what she says there. She doesn't say using the mithril to help the elves. She says it's going to be all ours. I think Disa is a power-hungry bitch. Power-hungry fat bitch. Power-hungry bitch all the same, though. There it is. Where's all the nice Disa going? No, she wants the throne. She wants to rule. It's going to be her throne. Don't forget that she married into it, and she would be essentially not the ruler. He would be the ruler. But no, she says, we're going to rule. Because she's the man in this relationship. Meanwhile, we cut back to, and now, well, anyway, Durin is now rejuvenated. They make out a little bit. We all cringe just watching it. Durin's rejuvenated. We cut back to Durin the Third sealing up the mine. He takes that leaf, he finds the revitalized leaf, and he throws it through the hole for some reason. I'm like, I'm going to put it through the hole. Because now, as the leaf, as he says, seal it all up, as the leaf is drifting down to the bottom of the chasm, it lands and bursts into flame as it wakes up the Balrog. Oh, remember the Balrog that they teased in a trailer 4 months ago? Wouldn't it have been interesting if this had been the Balrog reveal? We knew it was coming all along. So they didn't remember when we in Fellowship, when Sauron is reading or is monologuing about the dwarves dug too deep, dug too greedily, and awoke something. They haven't actually started digging yet, have they? And the Balrog's awake. So let me ask you this. If they, once Durin the Third predictably dies, probably next season, and Queen Disa rules, not Durin, Queen Disa, and they begin mining, why isn't the Balrog immediately attacking? It's already awake. How are they going to have enough time to actually mine the Mithril before the Balrog, Durin's Bane, attacks? Figure that one out, because we're done with dwarves and daddy issues. Moving on to Galadriel and the Númenóreans and the Southlanders, and me oh my, they should all be dead.
And my husband,
Husband?
Celeborn, was his name. We met in a glade of flowers.
Here comes the main course of the stupid for this episode. Remember last week when the pyroclastic, I believe that's how you pronounce it, wave of utter destruction was descending upon Galadriel, the Númenóreans, and the remaining Southlanders? Well, they should all be dead. Each and every one of them should be dead. There should be no survivors, and the wounds that we see throughout this episode do not line up with this kind of destruction. That's why, as we begin this final plot of the episode, you're completely checked out. Because your common sense tells you they should all be dead, especially the humans. One might make the argument, well, Galadriel, warrior queen, she's Galadriel, she has magical abilities, she could have shielded herself. Fine. But did she shield everybody? No. Obviously not. A lot of people are perfectly fine. Anyway, we are in the immediate aftermath of the eruption of Mount Doom. That's still so bad. Galadriel, covered in Cheetos, looking for some dip, decides to look for also survivors. And she comes along Theo, badass teenage mustache Theo, who is perfectly fine. He's perfectly unharmed. She says, let's go, let's get out. Doesn't look for anybody else. She's calling out for Halbrand at one point. First person she calls out for is Halbrand, because she wants that sweet, hot Sauron D. But she doesn't find anybody. Just finds Theo and then just F's off. They there are other people wandering around behind her. You see them. But she gets Theo and then just F's off. They just F off in one random direction. I know. There's people there. Let's not keep looking. No. Let's just take Theo and wander away. It makes no sense. I know. Cut to Isildur. Again, Isildur. Helping his bigger friend with the poofy hair trapped under some debris. Muriel comes over to help lift it up as they pull him out, but then you see that their dumb friend is dead, and Isildur mourns for a second. But as they're trying to leave, Muriel says, wait, there's people in here. We have to help then. Okay, Isildur he mans up, and he goes to help, and while okay, I got to do this in the right order. Muriel goes in to usher people out. As she does that, some sparks hit her in the face. Little ashen sparks hit her in the face. Guess what, guys? That's what blinds her. She survives the pyroclastic wave of destruction, but a little bit of sparks hits her in the face, and she's blind. None of this makes sense. Just throw reason out the window. As she stumbles backwards, helped away by bigger friend, the building collapses on Isildur. Now begins manufactured tension. Once again in this episode, Isildur. We know his fate. His fate is to be pincushioned by orcs a few hundred years from now. That's his fate. to manufacture for the rest of this plot arc in this episode that everybody thinks Isildur might be dead, that we have to think Isildur might be dead, is ridiculous. It's lame and it's stupid. Manufactured tension, which is why in general prequels suck. Because you have to manufacture shit when you know the fate of main characters involved in said prequel. In the end, we survive the cloud cover. Now remember, they reached this little area where village of Who Gives a Fuck was around at a full gallop for a day. Apparently they had time to set up camp prior to that. Who knows where? I don't know. No, they set up camp before that. It's a pathetic looking camp when we get there. But they had to ride a full gallop for a day and a night to get there. Yet now, as they are just meandering through the remains of the Southlands, which at one point is covered in cloud cover, but then isn't. Don't think, just consume. They now will eventually reach the camp, which are near the boats, by just calmly walking with survivors and wounded for what appears to be a day and a night as well. Once again, these idiot writers do not understand geography nor time. We return to Elendil, who is basically shepherding the survivors. He's in command. Thinks he sees Isildur, but does not, because he sees Isildur's horse, whose name doesn't matter, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And now he thinks his son is dead. Once again, we come back to the manufactured idea that Isildur is dead when we know his fate. Then here comes Muriel being led by Isildur friend on a horse. We can see she's blind, but they haven't admitted it yet, and they lead her away. Now, they have a discussion about we have to lead these people to the camp. We're almost there. Let's keep going, blah, blah, blah. Pointless banter. Well, not even banter. Pointless discussion. They're not doing anything. They're not saying anything. They're just talking to fill time. Now we cut to, and here's where this is where the egregious stuff really begins here. Forget the realism of they should all be dead. But now, again, bad plot development, bad character development. Galadriel, Warrior Queen, and badass teenage mustache Theo are together walking through some area. Because remember, they just effed off, didn't try to help enemy. They just wandered away, didn't pick up anybody else on the way out, just wandered off so they can have alone time. Where now suddenly Galadriel, Warrior Queen, seems to have learned her lessons. Her character development is complete because she begins to preach to Theo that don't get obsessed with war and vengeance. That's the core of her this entire episode. She's taking the blame for everything. This is all my fault. I did this to everybody with my horrible obsession over Sauron. Theo, you cannot go down the obsession of war and vengeance and killing things. How has she earned this? Because she got hit with a blast of pyroclastic wave? Suddenly she had a come to Valar moment where she's going to realize she's been wrong the whole time? This isn't earned. Her sudden revelation, her sudden I understand, I'm now good Galadriel, where I understand the ebb and flow of everything. I understand that I've done wrong and I have to pay for my bad actions. Suddenly, she understands that she's been a bitch for 7 episodes. No, I'm sorry. This payoff is not earned. This revelation is not earned. This character growth has not been earned at all. And it's sad. And of course, it's coded in dialogue of bad metaphors. Don't give in to the darkness. Don't do this. And her saying a lot of ridiculous shit. I didn't even write it down. I didn't even remember because it doesn't matter. I'm sure we'll go over it on Mordor Country tomorrow. Either way, it's pathetic. Not earned. And at one point, Theo's talking about how I want to fight, I want to save my people, I don't have a home anymore. And she offers him her sword. Then we cut to, then we are back with Elendil and Muriel, where now Muriel admits she's blind. That's the essential thing. She's asking, are we out of the smoke yet? We've been out of smoke for a while. How close is camp? Over that hill. And now we get the revelation she's blind. A little bit of sparks and a little bit of dust hit her in the eyes and she's blind, but completely unharmed by the pyroclastic wave. That's all that scene is worth. It's really it. Oh, she's blind. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody, but we're going to wrap my head up in a cloth later on. Now we get the, again, really egregious character crap concerning Galadriel, Warrior Queen. It's nighttime. She and Theo have bedded down. Yeah. She's going to make a man out of him. No, she isn't. But that would have been funny. That would have been funny. Would have been more entertaining than all of this, because then again, she looks like a man. She's got a dick dagger, so Theo, stay away from that. You'll get dick dagger pox. They've bedded down for the night under some brush and debris and having a conversation about what came before. And we knew this was coming because, oh, look, the leaks were right again. Where she mentions, I had a husband. When after Theo's talking, I've lost everything, that she says, he asks her, what have you lost on all this? What's been driving you? She says, I lost my brother. Actually says his name for the first time while twirling her dick dagger. Then she says, I had a husband. His name was Celeborn. I told you, you saw it. He hit on me while I was dancing, and then we were in love, and he went off to war, and I made fun of him in his armor, and I never saw him again. Boop. Breaking the lore. She's always been with Celeborn. Celeborn never left her side, according to what my lore guys have told me. This is bullshit. You got rid of him so she could be hard-ass, badass Galadriel Warrior Queen, and so she can have lusty time with Halbrand. Their conversation abruptly ends when they hear movement. Now, remember, this is Galadriel, Warrior Queen, who can chop an orc in half and blast him to pieces while being 3 feet away while galloping and doing horse acrobatics. 6 or 7 orcs appear. 6 or 7. Theo instinctively starts to draw his sword, which gets their attention, and as one comes over, Galadriel keeps Theo in check as they're sniffing around, but they don't find one leave. Now, this is Galadriel, Warrior Queen. Couldn't she have just annihilated the 6 or 7 orcs that are there? There were no more orcs around. She could have annihilated them. You've built her up to be the goddess of war in this show. No, now she's gonna seek the refuge of stealth and not charge forward because she's learned her lesson. This is stupid. You build her up one way and then suddenly with unearned change have her behave another way. These people don't know how to write at all. We cut back to, okay, we're at Numenor. We're at Camp Numenor, this really lame-looking camp. Look how lame that is. This is their camp. They apparently reached where the boats are. They've reached it in a night, in a day. Just calmly walking as opposed to galloping at full speed the previous day. Don't think, just consume. Now, Elendil is dealing with the fact that his son is dead as nobody can calm Isildur's horse. Nobody can calm Isildur's horse. Elendil has a breakdown dad moment. Oh, my son is dead. I hate the elves. Now he hates the elves. We never should have come here. Damn that elf. I never should have picked her up. Oh, you're breaking Elendil's character. He's the faithful one, but now he's unfaithful. Now he hates elves. He hates everything. They're breaking his character. Continue. Elendil has been nothing but done dirty raw in the butt this entire season. Horrible desecration to his character. And then they have to release the horse because the horse won't listen to anybody. Gee, feels like we saw a horse that wouldn't listen to anybody in another Lord of the Rings piece of art called The Two Towers, where Brago wouldn't listen to anybody, but he would listen to Aragorn, and then became bonded to Aragorn, and they released this horse. Horse runs off. What do you think's going to happen next episode? Oh, Horsey's going to find Isildur and help him to ride back to them or ride somewhere, because the ships are going to leave. Ride somewhere, probably to the colony, we're going to mention that in a minute, that they're going to, just like Brago did for Aragorn in Two Towers. Oh, you're such hacks. Now we cut to Galadriel, Warrior Queen, and and Theo arrive at camp, and Theo goes to the wounded tent, and here we get a display of everybody being wounded. People have had limbs cut off, and they're getting stitched up, and this and that. One dude looks horribly burned, but that's the only one. But none of these wounds match with what we just saw, with the pyroclastic wave descending upon everybody. These wounds don't match. And for a moment, you're going, please, Bronwyn be dead. Please, Arondir be dead. But no, Bronwyn's alive, completely unscathed. Arondir's alive, completely unscathed. Everybody hugs. Aren't you happy that this family is together again? Because we're so enamored, we're so connected, we're so involved with what happens that we really care, but we don't. I guarantee, once again, like I said, when Harfoot Wagonville was burning to the ground, I was not the only one going, please be dead, please be dead, please be dead, to these horrible characters who have caused nothing but trouble for themselves and everybody around them. But nope, they're alive, perfectly fine. Galadriel is taken to Queen Muriel on a ridge overlooking everything. Elendil's bitching once again about how we have to go home, screw this place, we're done with it. But no, as Galadriel kneels in front of Muriel and says, I'm sorry I did this to you, and cries. Once again, Galadriel is crying, so we have to connect with her emotionally. Her chin looks really weird there. Muriel says, no one kneels in Numenor. And we're going to go, but we're going to be back. These orcs have no idea the fury they've unleashed, because I'm going to bring back my Numenorian armies, and we're going to lay the beat down on these orcs. And Galadriel says, oh, and the elves will be ready, because here comes our fledgling war of the last alliance. Went overboard there. But you get my meaning. Suddenly the Wammons, while the man is cowering in fear and losing all faith, saying, let's go home, I want to go home. The women, the powerful Wammons, are ready for war. But we're not done yet. Bronwyn lets Galadriel know that Halbrand, which says, what about our king? And she goes, what about your king? What, Halbrand? Where's Halbrand? Takes Halbrand. Halbrand's been wounded. Oh, there goes your theories that he's Sauron because he has a wound. He's wounded. He can't be Sauron. He is Sauron. Next episode, you're all going to cry. Next episode. Halbrand's wounded. Only elvish medicine can fix it, so he's not so wounded that he can't get on a horse, even though apparently the wound worsened overnight. He doesn't want to leave his people, but Galadriel says, we got to go get elvish medicine. But she's Galadriel. She probably could have healed him on the spot if she was actually lore-accurate Galadriel. But no. No. They put Halbrand on a horse. Apparently he's fine enough to ride a horse at full gallop out of town. See? He's Sauron. He's fine. Galadriel and Sauron leave to Theo and everybody saying, hail to the Southlands! Hail to the king! Health to the king! Rah, rah, sis, boom, bah! And they go off to get him help, because apparently, with his wound as it is, while the Numenorians are sailing away. Meanwhile, yeah, they're gone. Their ships are there. They've loaded up onto one ship. I only see one ship. They're gone. They're gonna go. They'll be back home by tomorrow. But Galadriel and Sauron ride off together, and apparently they're going to reach the elves really quickly before he bleeds out or something, or festers and suffers, because he's not Sauron. There's still time for them to F. There's still time. Once he's healed, they can still F. 1 hour to go. It's going to happen. Okay, it might not happen, but still. A man can pray, can't he? Anyway, they ride off, and then we cut to the orcs. We cut to the orcs with Adar, and now Sauron worshiper turned Adar worshiper, old man, who fingered that key just right into the hole. They're all celebrating. You don't need to wear your hoods or your helmets anymore. This land is ours. These Southlands are ours. And Adar, no, it's not the Southlands anymore. And as the orcs are chanting, the screen pans up to say Southlands, and the Southlands burns away, and it says Mordor! It's Mordor now! There you have it. Episode 7 done. What have we learned? Durin's got daddy issues, and Deez is a power-hungry bitch. The harfoots are hypocrites, talking about we're all in this together, but still are happily leaving people behind all the time, and we don't care that their whole wagon train has been burned to a crisp. We're happy about that. What else? Oh! Galadriel Warrior Queen had a come to Valar moment and realized that she's been a bitch for 7 episodes and that her darkness is not the way. You can't go to darkness. And unearned character growth, unearned revelations. And we dig into the whole point that they unintentionally put the glaring spotlight on the fact that where's Celeborn? Oh, he died. We think he died, which leads him to be able to come back. She should have already had her kid by now. According to my lore guys that I talked to about this stuff. She should have already had her daughter, who gets married to Elrond. I know, Femron with a woman, perish the thought. Still, none of this makes sense. And they do it all. They get rid of Celeborn because Galadriel, Warrior Queen, don't need no man. Unless it's Halbrand, Sauron, who then can be shipped for the weirdos on Twitter and Reddit and Tumblr, because they're making that art on Tumblr. Tumblr is still a thing, apparently. They do it during their whole moment there when Halbrand is hurt. They do fleeting smiles at each other. I like you too. Let's have the smicks. Give me the snoo. There's still time. It might still happen. At the very least, there might be a kiss, which I'll take that as a consolation prize. But I want effing. They created this for the shipping culture, the toxic shipping culture. They created it for people who don't care about Lord of the Rings, who just want to see pretty people, or maybe not so pretty people, in Morfydd Clark's case, have the smecks on the screen. This show is a complete disaster, but as you saw, this episode, largely not as offensive as everything that came before. Yes, they continue these forced, made-up lore plot arcs of dying elves that need mithril, a Balrog surprise we knew that was coming, and the unrealistic survival of everybody next to who was within Mount Doom's eruption range. We got one episode to go. I can't wait. Honestly, at this point, I can't wait. I want to see how they're going to tie this all together in the last hour and prepare for season 2, which will be 2 years minimum away. We'll talk about that another time. Anyway, thank you for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, remember to hit that like button, and I will catch you next week. Oh, leave comments too. Please leave comments. I want to hear from you guys. But I'll catch you next week, episode 8. And remember, this is Mordor Country, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, every Saturday, right back here on this channel, where the panel and I will tear it to shreds. Although this weekend, we're probably just going to do a lot of laughing, honestly. All right. Take it easy, everybody. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach out to me at therennerd@gmail.com. That email's for channel business only, so I check it on a daily basis. Also, you can find me at the Geeks and Gamers forums under @Roas, and you can find me at Rumble and Odyssey, The Renaissance Nerd. Thank you again. See you next time.